this content is for kids.
It's not for kids.
Isn't that what I said?
No, it's not for kids. If you are 13 years or younger, this is not for you. Do I have to kill somebody in order to actually make that point across?
No, man, you don't have to kill
Wait
no
a
one.
second.
Oh, no.
When we return to our planet, the High Court may well sentence you to torture.
He likes movies, we like movies. SeptumSin versus the world. SeptumSin versus the world. SeptumSin versus the world. SeptumSin versus the world. I'd buy that for $1.
Greetings! You're watching SeptumSin versus the world. I'm SeptumSin. I'm here with Kotobukijake and Forrest. Bennett.
Yes.
Remembering names. So we are here again. Of course, I'm hoping that y'all caught yesterday's new release videos. But otherwise, you need to go and subscribe to his channel. Look him up on a lot of the various things that he is in. He does some pretty cool stuff. I think I remember y'all doing a screen reading before that I listened to.
Yes, we've done. Yeah, I'm currently part of a group called Script Club on a channel called Evil Greg that I do with Danny Koo, Arlo Sanchez, and Cass Hardy. We do dramatic table readings of unproduced scripts. So far, we did one original script. We also did an early draft of the Super Mario Brothers movie. And right now we're doing George Miller's unproduced Justice League Mortal script, where I'm currently playing Batman, and fulfilling a childhood dream without having to wear a claustrophobic rubber suit.
There you go. I think Batman is just as fun. All the fun is in the voice. I mean, I do have a Batman voice. I try to be more Michael Keaton than Christian Bale. Because first of all, I think more of a Keaton guy. Plus, I don't want to distract my vocals. So. Oh yeah, he went all out with that.
Whew. So do y'all do multiple roles per, or do you like? There's a lot of roles in there.
Okay, so with Super Mario Brothers, we rotated roles. Like, I would be Mario for one scene, and then Luigi or King Koopa in another. But then with the Justice League, so initially we started rotating it, but then it got to a point where we all got comfortable with certain characters that were like, okay,
yeah,
I'll be Batman from here on out. My co-host or co-star Arlo, because he does like this very dead-on Nicolas Cage impression. So we have him doing Superman.
Nice.
Awesome.
For anybody who didn't get that reference, check out the documentary "The Death of Superman Lives."
I would love to have seen that movie.
Yeah.
It's too bad that it never got made.
I know. I remember reading about it in Cinescape when I was a kid. It was supposed to come out the summer after Batman and Robin, but then Batman and Robin tanked, and Warner Bros. Got cold feet.
So we got 5 pickups each. So we're it's gonna take 7 now. Yes. So it's gonna take us a bit. So we're gonna just move on through.
Okay.
Show me what you got. I want to see what you got. Oh boy.
Unfortunately, I had a major loss, which is, of course, why we were kind of dark last week. So my father passed, and with such things, one does inherit things. So we'll be covering some of the movies. Matter of fact, I'll be probably covering movies I've inherited from him for a while. Now, for better or for worse. But let's start with one of those. He was a big Charles Bronson fan.
Oh, same. I would have loved to. Now I would have loved to have met him.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, he had the remake of Death Wish, which I'm kind of glad he never got to see.
I heard it wasn't that good.
But I have here a 3-pack. Charles Bronson 3-pack. We'll try and put it up here. Sorry, Jake, we got to use you as the right there. But over here you've got the Mechanic.
I can pretend I'm Charles Bronson for a moment.
Messenger of Death and Assassination. I have not seen a single one. No, I've seen the Mechanic, but I've not seen any of the others. I am looking forward to checking these out because they're pretty cool. Charles Bronson was one of the older action stars. Unfortunately, he has passed, but he would have been great for the Expendables when you put him.
Oh, absolutely! I would have. If Expendables had been made like maybe 20 years earlier, I think he would have been a perfect addition. And it's like the guy was in his 60s and kicking the asses of guys half his age.
Mm-hmm. He was a classic one, and I got a pretty decent number of his stuff now. Of course, got all the Death Wish films, so this is pretty cool.
Speaking of blasts from the past, when's the last time I can't remember the last time I saw a Kmart.
Yeah, I was gonna say I saw that price tag. I'm like, Kmart. They're still out there.
We had a Kmart in our hometown before they all closed, so that's probably
good.
As you can see, I haven't been open yet.
Good deal.
So I'll go Forrest next. Because you got the big finish.
Okay, right. So this one was a movie that when we did Days of Future Past on Inside Movies Galore, this was one of the movies that I nominated, but it didn't get past the voting round.
The hard thing there, yes.
Is 1992's Free Jack with Emilio Estevez, Mick Jagger, Anthony Hopkins, and Rene Russo. With Hopkins coming hot off of Silence of the Lambs, and Emilio Estevez, between when he was transitioning between Brat Packer and Mighty Ducks coach. It's a really I just remember seeing this on television as a kid. It's like one of those movies I'd stop and watch. It was really It's a really cheesy movie set in the year 2009. In a distant future of 2009,
yes,
yes.
when the world is so Earth is so humanity is like so unhealthy and uninhabitable that they had to start transporting people from the past into the future, including Emilio Estevez. This is a pretty cheap. I mean, I will just say right now, the only reason to watch this movie is to watch Mick Jagger chew scenery. as a bounty hunter.
Actually, it would be pretty cool to see them working off of each other, so it would be fun.
I don't know, the idea of the coach from Mighty Ducks interacting with Hannibal Lecter sounds kind of fun too.
And Hannibal Lecter and Mick Jagger,
right?
As well as the love interest of as well as being Rene Russo's significant other.
Right.
So.
All right. So. I had the good fortune of meeting his old man a few times, and he was definitely an interesting guy, and he will be missed. And I got a couple of things out of this, because he has a lot of movies, and not all of these movies he inherited. Some of them were duplicates.
and my father would have wanted Rocky to have it. He always used to call him Rocky, which is funny.
Okay, but a movie that sadly I have never seen.
Some say you might have dodged a bullet.
Some would say that, and some others would say, for whatever reason, that you can't watch the MCU without watching this one first, because it's the OG Marvel film. Is Howard the Duck, which
that theme song gets stuck in my head.
But this one you got. Speaking of Days from Future Past, wasn't Leah Thompson's Back to the Future star, isn't she?
Yep, she was coming hot off of Back to the Future when this was made.
And then you got Jeffrey Jones, Tim Robbins. I mean, that's an interesting cast, no doubt about it. And actually, I guess you're talking about like OG. You could say that he might be the OG Mighty Duck.
I mean, this is the first. It's the first Marvel movie, first theatrically released Marvel movie, and the first Marvel feature film theatrically released, and the first egg laid by George Lucas.
What an egg!
What an egg! And I have never seen this. I have read a bunch of Howard the Duck comics. And he's a great character in the comics, so I'd like to see this.
I will say right now, because I actually saw the movie before I read the comics, and I will say, and I can honestly say the movie probably didn't do the comics any favors, but at the same time, for me, it's a childhood favorite. I developed a huge crush on Leah Thompson after this movie, and I think it did lead me to reading the comic books
and uncensored duck boobs.
Duck tits, woo!
Oh, jeez. Okay, no, you guys. You just reminded me of a college, mind you, debate where one of my friends was insisting that chickens had nipples.
Well, they did in this.
Waterfowl have nipples.
I wonder if that's what she was basing it on.
Maybe.
What George Lucas was basing it on. I mean, I don't know. It's right up there with Leia kissing Luke as far as
It's odd. Huh?
what was Lucas thinking.
So, my father got into an obsession with the movie Cobb. And then the player, Cobb.
Tommy Lee Jones.
Yes, reading the books, and he got the individual, but he wanted multiple copies of Cobb. So he also got this Tommy Lee Jones collection here, which had it, and I was like, I don't need multiple versions of Cobb. I think I can just have this and save myself room, because I've wanted to get a lot of these films anyway. Space Cowboys is a classic. I love that movie, so I'm glad to have it finally. The Client is exceptional. U.S. Marshals is okay.
Sure. I mean, they could. I mean, I'm sure it would have made it a little more pricey, but couldn't they have swapped out U.S. Marshals with The Fugitive?
I know.
It would have been a bunch. It would have probably been much more home runs, but Cobb was kind of an odd one on there too. But you know what?
I'm actually curious about Cobb because I've never
seen it.
I've never seen it, but I've always been curious about
It's
it.
a decent enough. It was up there if you wanted it, and I might even still be able to grab it for you if you want later, Jake.
Awesome.
If you do want it, but it's one of those. I'll see it. I'll think of him when I do watch it, because I did watch it a couple of times. It wasn't like the early days, like with Crumb, where I was subjected over and over and over again.
And actually, my viewing of Crumb was with them.
Wait, the Crumb documentary?
Yes.
He loved Crumb.
That was one of those movies that made me want to make movies.
See, so there you go. And eventually we'll cover Crumb, I'm sure, on Inside Movies Galore if we do a documentary month, which we need to do a documentary month.
Yeah.
So it'll be there. But I think it's a pretty cool collection. Glad to have them. Great movies. Didn't have a single one of them, so.
Actually, I had two of those.
All right.
I think.
Next up, I've got this one I picked up on thriftbooks.com. Is 976 Evil. It's a horror movie that was horror movie directed by Freddy Krueger himself, Robert Englund. This was his directorial debut, about this teen who this sheltered teenager who summons the devil with a 976 number. And for anybody who was probably too young to remember. I mean, even I was probably too young to remember. I was only in diapers when this movie came out. 976 numbers, you could call them and get all sorts of funny, or like all sorts of crap, like Santa Claus, or like you can tell Santa Claus what you want, or get tarot readings.
Yes.
But this one, it's pretty. I've seen it at least once in theater. Been fortunate enough to see it once in theaters. It's pretty silly. It's pretty fun. Good special effects.
Yeah. I love the end scene in that.
Yeah.
So they did pretty good about pulling out the stops at that end, like, fight scene thing.
Yep. It's a fun movie to gather around with friends, and drink a few cheap beers.
Good deal. All right. So next film is one that, like Crumb, I actually did watch with Brandon and his father, and it's a film. A lot of people don't remember that Woody Allen, and Once Upon a Time, was a playwright.
Yes.
And he did write several plays, and one of them was a play called Play It Again, Sam, which, of course, is a riff on the Casablanca storyline. Herbert Ross directing this adaptation, but this is supposedly the first pairing between Woody Allen and his longtime friend and collaborator Diane Keaton. And this is a very entertaining film. I enjoyed it thoroughly. I've been looking for an opportunity to add it to the collection, and certainly, obviously not ideal circumstances, but certainly happy to do so, and grateful for the chance. And whatever you may think of Woody Allen as a person, as a writer, and even as an actor, he is a very entertaining actor, but he's a brilliant writer. And this is a good illustration of early Woody Allen.
And I mean, it's thanks to my father that I had more of an interest in that, and of course I have all of Woody Allen's released films. So I did not need that when it came out.
I'll admit, I've never been a huge Allen fan, but at the same time, though, I feel like he along with Spike Lee and Martin Scorsese, are the quintessential New York filmmakers.
And Allen is probably one of the hardest working people in the business. I mean, the man was putting out like a film a year for 20, 30 years almost. He is such a hard...
He's a workhorse.
Yeah. And I think a lot of that, and I think he even said it in his book, if I put out enough stuff, at least something will be good in that. And that's the thing, that's the way it is. I think most people would say that his films are, you could find usually a few that you like in his filmography most of the time. So, speaking of interesting people with interesting filmographies, we have a Steven Seagal collection.
Oh, Jesus.
Nice.
So, my father was a huge fan of
The two best ones are on there.
Steven Seagal. And, I mean, not so much recently because of his political leanings, but he did really love Under Siege. He loved the Aikido style, and he loved telling me about it because he was a martial artist.
My late uncle was a big Seagal fan. He was also because of Aikido. He made Aikido mainstream.
It's sort of like how my father liked Tony Jaa later on because he loved seeing that style, because there were styles you didn't see on screen, and it was just really cool to see it. And Under Siege was really good. Yeah, it's probably his best film.
One of the best Die Hard clones.
Yes.
And really, again, tie into that Tommy Lee Jones stuff.
Yes,
that's one of his.
Tommy Lee Jones and Gary Busey out crazying each other.
Yes.
Now, I've never seen Glimmerman, or I've seen Above the Law, but it's been years. And I used to have both. I have both Under Siege and Fire Down Below, but they're like snapper cases, so I'm not really missing anything. And this saves a little bit of room. Plus, I get 2 extra ones, and he was decent enough to watch in his action movies.
I'll admit though, for me, Mad TV ruined Steven Seagal for me. I cannot look at him and not think of Will Sasso snapping people's necks for laughs.
Well, the Fire Down Below I actually saw in theaters, and that has always been a favorite of mine. And whatever Seagal's more out there things, he did do a pair of blatantly pro-environmental films, and I give him props for that.
On Deadly Ground.
So, yeah. And then Fire Down Below, yeah. Plus, Fire Down Below has one of the most kick-ass country sountracks in movie history.
I do need to get on Deadly Ground because I did like that one. The Fire Down Below is the more outright of the two.
All right. I forget that Fire Down Below was actually, for me. I always thought on Deadly Ground was the more in your face about the environmentalist message.
Oh yeah. Sometimes though I think subtlety sells it better. But depends on who you are watching it too.
Right. See, that one was a little more like they were picking on the working man more than anything else, and that kind of But he used that as Anyway.
All right. Next, I got this from this in the mail from our very own Dane Kyle. Happy Birthday to Me, a Canadian slasher film.
Fun.
I have not opened this up and watched it yet, but I love like this VHS style casing, or this VHS throwback casing. And although from what I recall, because I've only seen this movie maybe once or twice, as I recall that this kebab death does not actually make it in the final film. They just slapped it on a poster to sell tickets.
That's too bad, but it was a fun film. I enjoyed it when I saw it.
I don't think I would miss that.
Well, of course you're not. You probably wouldn't watch it. we have to get it on Inside Movies Galore to force them to watch it.
Now I admit that is a cool looking cover. Although I'm more interested in the one you got coming up. But anyway.
All right.
So the rest of mine have a theme, and the theme is I have placed a handful. As I pointed out, I think last time we did this, I'm running out of stuff to present. So I placed a couple of orders. And one of them arrived already, and that is my order from Sentai Filmworks. They had their An Amazing sale, and I did a little bit of that. And the first one I have here is a DVD copy. I try not to do a lot of DVD anymore, but it was dirt freaking cheap. And if there ever was a Blu-ray on this, it's out of print.
Oh.
And this is...
Must be hitting the...
I think I stepped on a light.
And this is our light's flickering a little bit here. This is called Stella Women's Academy High School Division Class C3. Wow, that kind of... There we go. Okay, so we got that there.
Let there be light.
So this is sort of your typical cute high school girls do cute high school things with guns sort of series.
As you do.
As you do. 13-episode series. I've never seen it. I've heard decent things about it. I got it dirt cheap.
Oh, good.
I was like, why not?
Oh, right.
Now, just for that cover alone, I'm curious.
It looks interesting. I think
Right.
I've got a copy because it was so cheap when it was.
Right.
But it's hard to say because with Sentai, some of their sales were
Yeah.
so cheap. You just buy a bunch and you're like, oh, well, maybe. So a couple of these are the rest of them are various sources because I just go through these alphabetically. One day I'll actually get beyond like G. So I usually start with compilations in my collections, and this one is one I got from SRS Entertainment. So this here I was a used copy, I think, for a B-movie theaters drive-in double feature for Dead Girl on Film and Kitty Killers.
Ooh.
But it's not about people killing cats because otherwise I wouldn't have actually bought it.
Yeah.
But I like these type of films. It looks like it's shot on video, which is also fun.
That's, yeah.
Are you familiar with these? I know you.
I'm familiar. I'm familiar with SRS. Since they picked up a movie that I produced called a movie I recently produced called Camp Murder was picked up for distribution by them.
Yes.
And they're based in my hometown of Syracuse, New York.
I mean, they're fun. I mean, I've gotten a lot of good, and I think that SRS is a great. I'm actually wearing a shirt for them. There you go.
Yeah.
And House Shark, I got introduced with by them. Matter of fact, I have a signed poster of House Shark with all of the cast. So that's pretty cool. But some of these things just it's cool. You can get some cool stuff by more localized directors. And to me, I've gotten much more into low-budget filmmaking.
Yeah. Support your local filmmakers, people.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Oh, I'm looking at Jake like it's his turn. You got a good one for yours.
Yeah.
Yep. Next one. This definitely seems more like it seems more like up Jake's alley. This was also from Dane. Copy of another Canadian movie is Meatballs with Bill Murray. Mm-hmm. And again, it's got another VHS throwback, VHS throwback sleeve. This for me is one of my favorite summer camp movies. I like to watch it personally. I like every time I watch it, I gotta have a meatball a meatball Parmesan hero to eat while I'm watching it.
Mm-hmm.
It's also one of the early comedy feature efforts from Ivan Reitman, who would go on to do movies like Ghostbusters and Twins. Mm-hmm. Again, I think Bill Murray's first starring role in a feature film.
Mm-hmm.
I guess, but yeah, it's a solid summer camp comedy. I get that's pretty much all there. I think that's pretty much.
Yeah, I wish that they would release. I think not all of them are out on DVD. They get a couple on compilations. Mm-hmm. I would love to get like a Meatballs set that would have all the films.
Yeah, I think the sequels might have been produced by other studios. Yeah. That's probably partly why. Also, the first movie compared to the sequels, the first movie is more of a family comedy, whereas the sequels were more raunchy comedies.
Moved down to like that Porky's type style.
Yeah.
So, if you slip that out, does it still look the same?
Actually, I'm just gonna check that out. No, it's the original movie poster art.
Okay.
Actually, I'm just gonna check this for
mildly disappointing.
I know. Actually, you gotta double check this for.
That probably has the same art there.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't.
Completely different art.
There you go. Yeah, that's odd.
Interesting. Well, Strangely, I don't think I have ever seen Meatballs.
Really?
I don't think I have.
Wow.
So if we do that summer camp month, then that will be an essential one.
Oh,
I
we
guess.
definitely have to get that on
Oh,
there.
that one and Great Outdoors.
Okay.
Two big summer camp movies.
Yep.
So luckily, probably for them, I don't feel the need when I watch this to eat Cobra.
Does it have anything to do with the slow movie?
Cobra the animation is what is this? A 13 episode series, 4 episode OVA The Psycho Gun, 2 episode OVA Time Drive. This is some old school anime. This is like, what is this, mid-80s?
I think it's 80s.
Like something like that. It's like old school.
That's fun stuff.
I have
some of
not
it.
seen it. I need to one of these days. This was actually really cheap on the sale, and I was like, I'm overdue to add this to the collection.
Part of the series is out of print, which is the
I think part
one
of
that
it is.
the one that Nozomi had the rights to.
Well, there's something from here that's on the Discotheque sale right now.
Oh, cool.
I'd have to check and see what it is, but whatever the case, I got started finally.
Well, another one of my pickups from the SRS. They had a sale on these, and I don't know. I've never heard of this, but it's a bunch of short films by Donald Farmer. I was like, I wonder if he's a distant relative. So, this
Maybe.
is the Donald Farmer Collection Volume 1, which has The Summoned and A Taste of Flesh. But you can see that the writing is so dark, it's hard to read that. And then the Volume 2, which has the short films A Fistful of Pasta, Despondent Yearning, Homicidal, and Interspersions, which they wrote the titles in yellow there, so you can read them better. And you got 2 posters with it, which are just basically these covers. I'm curious about it, so I said, you know what? For I think it was like $2.50 a piece. I was like, I could throw those on the cart.
Nice.
You heard about?
No, but if it's SRS, I'm definitely want to check it out. Check them out.
All right.
Oh, great. All right. So next up, Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice. All right. So recently on Under the Radar, we recorded a commentary on Beetlejuice, a live commentary, and I had it on VHS as a kid. Watched it multiple times. Skipped DVD on it and kind of skipped and was just watching it on streaming. But when we did this commentary. Recording this commentary, I felt like it was high time to upgrade and get another copy of the movie in a more up to date format. For me, it's one of Tim Burton's top 3 movies. Got its great cast all around: Michael Keaton, Alec Baldwin, Gina Davis, and again Jeffrey Jones. Before all that stuff about him came out. Catherine O'Hara, who to me is the unsung hero of everything she does.
Pretty much, yeah.
And Winona Ryder in one of her.
I need to watch Schitt's Creek.
Yeah, same here. I've never watched it either. But also Winona Ryder in one of her early roles. I think it's just it's funny. It's very funny. The production design is excellent. I love the use of the stop motion special effects. Just a fun movie all around. And if you've got any kids that you're trying to get into horror, that this is not a bad. This is this is probably a good one of the good first places to start.
What how's that look on 4K?
I've only watched the Blu-ray. The Blu-ray.
Okay.
Nah,
Well, how's it look on Blu-ray?
I just picked it up on. I just picked it up at Best Buy for like $20.
I want to upgrade eventually if they did a good job with it. That's the question. If they because sometimes they won't do as good a job on the up-res, which I can say for Highlander is a good example. I regretted upgrading it from DVD to Blu-ray because
really?
it looked grainy as heck.
I'd say
And Highlander's a favorite of mine.
Yeah.
But I've never owned a physical copy of it.
I downgraded it back to DVD.
I'd say with this flair for the visual, anything with Tim Burton, if they put the effort
Yes,
in,
if they put the effort in, it would be
you'd
good on
want to,
4K, yeah. I need to upgrade, but I need to double check that they do a good job. So when you watch it, let us know if they did a good job.
Oh well, I mean, I did watch the Blu-ray of it for the Under the Radar commentary. But it looked fine. Not the 4K, it was the Blu-ray.
Yeah. I'm curious if the 4K does a better job. So, well, we'll figure it out.
Yep.
All right.
All right. So anytime you make a sale, you get a series or something. Typically, you end up throwing in there just because. So how fitting that I did that with the series called Just Because.
Does it have any Jane's Addiction on the soundtrack?
Oh, I have no idea, but it's apparently this does come with a leaflet comic. It's kind of cool. It's a 12-episode series. It's supposed to be sort of a high school drama about some people who are getting ready to graduate, and then out of the blue they meet someone they knew in middle school, and it kind of throws everything into chaos. I haven't heard much about it, but what I've heard has generally been decent. And it looks like the kind of show I'd probably enjoy, and it was cheap, and so I thought I'd get it just because.
All right. Well, my next one is Dollar Tree. I had a couple of pickups from Dollar Tree. Matter of fact, this not too long ago. I was curious about this. I don't know what it lands on, but for $1, I'm willing to try it out. Which is this BBC show called The American Future, which examines the Obama era and how our culture has kind of changed over time from an outsider's perspective. So I am willing to take a look at it. It's fairly well rated. It is a miniseries, so a very short miniseries, and because of that, I said, I'd buy that for $1. For $1.
Nice.
I'd buy that for $1.
Exactly. All right.
All right, next up. Okay, so this was an impulse purchase from Best Buy, the Leprechaun 7 film collection.
Awesome.
With the first 7 Leprechaun movies on I think like 7 discs, or no, maybe a little less than that.
Oh, man.
But Leprechaun, this was actually one of I will admit, this is one of those movies that used to scare the fuck out of me as a kid. Just because of that leprechaun, he's so like nasty looking and would pop up in random places. But eventually these became frequent rentals from Hollywood Video for me. I actually associate Jennifer Aniston with the first movie more than I do. I associate Jennifer Aniston with Leprechaun more than I do Friends.
Well, I liked her better from that than I did in Friends.
But yeah, these for me they're must-watch movies every St. Patrick's Day.
I love the Leprechaun in the Hood.
Yes, Ice-T. That was a fun one. I actually got to see that in theaters. It was a special St. Patrick's Day screening, and everybody in the audience was drunk.
I need to watch Leprechaun Returns. That's the only one I haven't seen.
Oh, I actually got to see Leprechaun Returns. It's the first direct sequel in the because. The thing with the Leprechaun movies is that none of the movies are connected. They're all standalone stories. But Leprechaun Returns is the first direct sequel in the franchise, as it is a follow-up to the first movie. But for me, my personal favorite is the third one, where he's in Vegas.
Yes.
That one, you got a leprechaun who's got a taste for gold in Sin City. It's a perfect combination. It also launched the career of Oscar nominated. It also kickstarted the career of Oscar-nominated screenwriter John Gattens. He didn't write it, but he did act in it. So even though he did move from acting to writing, it still got he's got his start in Hollywood with this movie.
Very cool. Very cool.
It's interesting how many big names in Hollywood have bad horror films on their early resumes.
Oh yeah,
Like Grizzly 2, the
Well, that's technically a recent release, but Clooney also has
he had Return to the Killer
Return of
Tomatoes
the Killer Tomatoes
and Return to Horror High.
Yes. And
Crispin Glover and Corey Feldman had Friday the 13th Part 4.
and then of course we just did our James Cameron night, and of course
Piranha.
he had Piranha too.
Pretty
Not
cool
even
stuff.
Piranha,
Yeah,
Piranha 2.
Oh, that's a pretty cool one right there.
Okay, so my next one, we talked, I guess last night for you folks, on the power of a good cover with Eat Wheaties, and we were talking about that. There is an anime where I saw the cover and I was like, I will have this series. I don't know what it is, but this cover just says something to me. And that is a series called Mr. Tonegawa Middle Management Blues.
Oh boy,
And I mean, just look at that's just
That
such
evil-
a delightful cover.
that grin.
And it's apparently about basically like a vice. Well, it says on the back here, loan sharking, games of death, and ultimate evil. It's all in a day's work at this not-so-friendly finance corporation. So basically, it looks like apparently the guy that runs the company is an evil rat bastard, and Mr. Tonegawa is his right-hand man who has to implement all of these ideas. And I don't know why, but this just seems like it amuses me. I know it has a connection to another series, but for the life of me, I can't remember what the series is. But this is a 24-episode series. It has been maintaining a pretty high price for a while. I think this sale was the first time it came down to a really lower price. I think it was like 15 or so. And I was like, I will get it.
Yeah, that went down really low on one
Yeah.
sale, which is how I got it a while back. So after a while, I've been looking at these new releases, and oldies.com has started to become one of these sites that is getting almost exclusive selling and distribution of some of these movies that are coming out. And so I'm like, how legit is this site? Because they offer some amazing deals at sometimes, and I was like, how legit is this? So I went out when they had one of these big sales, and I got a whole bunch of things just to try them. And they also do some stuff. Actually, I did get something from them a long time ago, but it was a David Sterling film, one of those 8 movies that I think I gave you in the end. Which this time though, I bought a whole bunch of stuff for no more than like $1.50 a piece. And this one is a stoner comedy, which covers Awful Nights. I've never seen this.
I've never even heard of it.
I'd never heard of it before.
Any notable names in this?
Let's see here. I am not seeing anybody I know. Alex, let's see here. Brothers K Productions, James Pumphrey, Christopher Mellon.
Oh, Christopher.
Yeah.
Yeah, Christopher.
So, but it looks like a fun, like, stoner comedy.
See if I recognize
And if anything, it has a
yeah,
fun
Christopher
bear
Maloney,
character.
I do know that
Yep.
name. Yeah. Yeah, most of them I don't. Alright.
Right. Yeah. Christopher Maloney is the only one I recognize. I feel like the director's name sounds familiar. I just can't put any other names to it. Oh god, and it's set in Branson. It's set deep in Branson, Missouri.
Right.
Oh boy.
Okay. I think it's up to you.
All right. Oh, right. So this last one, again, another impulse purchase from Best Buy. Because I was at Best Buy one day to get a headset for my job, but I ended up walking away with the Alien 6 film collection, which has all 6 solo Alien movies. It was for me. It was a combination of impulse purchase plus we were getting ready to review discuss Aliens on Inside Movies Galore. So I had and Alien is my favorite space. Some people are Star Wars people, others are Star Trek people, or Battlestar Galactica, or Firefly, whatever. Alien is my space franchise. So I pretty much use this as an excuse to pick up this box set. which has you've got again all 6 solo Alien movies on there. Also you've got little postcard mini posters.
Huh.
So
I vouch for it. I've watched the first 2 Aliens on that set myself, which is good.
I've actually only watched Aliens so far. I need to make my way through the rest of them. But yeah, for me, I'm a huge Alien fan. Aliens is my favorite movie of all time. Alien, also one of my favorite horror movies, and Prometheus is one of my must-watch Christmas movies for the last. For me, it's one of the must-watch Christmas movies of the last decade.
Houseway.
Commentary by my wife as she goes by.
Nice to meet you.
Oh shoot! There it goes. You kicked the light again. I'll get it.
All right, it's back on.
Whoa! I always. Whew.
That's because you're right in front of it.
That's true.
Well, you can finish this off.
All right. And in a perfect world, I would be finishing us off with this. But I won't be, unfortunately. Because this is a good illustration of the dangers of waiting for your priority items. This was an upgrade, or would have been an upgrade for me. He jumped on it, but I wasn't willing to pay $150 for a series I already
I
owned.
didn't pay that. I paid around $100.
You got lucky if you paid that little. The cheapest I ever saw it was $109.
Yeah, that's about what I paid. So
okay,
yeah.
so there you go. I was waiting for $80. This set sold out.
Yeah, that was.
It would have happened if it hadn't sold out. But it's such a cool looking set. But Kaon is a kick-ass series, and I had the original piecemeal 4 volumes from Bandai of Season 1. I had the original 2-part release of Season 2 from Sentai, and I had the movie from Sentai. I needed some space saving. Even this would have saved some space. But I also they also have the omake, which are not on those releases. Sentai did put out an alternative for those of us who were not fortunate enough to get that cool set. I was waiting for that to come down in price, and I finally gave up on waiting. So for around 40, I think it was 43.
That's not terrible.
It's not bad because it's about $1 an episode and the movie.
Yeah, that's nowhere near Aniplex.
I got the Kaon Ultimate Collection, which contains both seasons, the movie, and the omake. And it's a really nice, compact set. Like I said, the other set would have taken up, well, about that much room on the shelf.
I mean, and it takes up much less room than this.
Yep.
Now, I'm still on the fence about whether I will sell off those Bandai sets, because they're kind of rare now. But this is a great show. It is a truly great show. This is a
good music.
It is a good music. It's about a group of girls who develop a band, but really just sit around eating treats most of the time. Mugi is filthy rich and hooks them up with all manner of treats. and the movie is actually one of the best anime movies out there. It's really, really, really good. It's a KyoAni movie. If I remember correctly, the director behind the Silent Voice movie is the director of this movie. It's a gorgeous movie, great music. Problem is, it's a direct sequel to Season 2, so you kind of have to watch the whole show first. But one day, we will cover this on our anime discussion, and we may bring the movie in on Movies Galore. One day, but this is 41 episodes in a movie. That's a little bit of an investment. I'm not trying to do that to us right now.
Yeah, but
it's hard enough getting through his 26 episode one this month. But it's overdue. This is overdue. I'm excited that I finally got that. Very cool.
All right. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this. Of course, if you have, hit that like button. Of course, if you like seeing Forrest, you can see a lot more of him on his YouTube channel. If you love the pickups portion of it. But of course, if you like us, you can definitely subscribe, share, and give us a comment. What did you pick up this time around? Any cool things? Anything that you would like to share with us? I read the comments, for the most part. But we'll see you on the next one.
Bye.
Goodbye. Later.